going to sing for you.
Well, Senator Brownback, why don't you start off with your position on, what is your position on Iraq?
I am for winning in Iraq. I think we've got to get to a political durable situation. And by that I'm pushing a three-state, one-country solution. We have a Kurdish region, a Sunni region, a Shia region. I am not for cutting and running. I do not think the troop surge works to move us on forward. I was in Iraq about 3 weeks ago. I'd made a tour through Afghanistan, Iraq, and into Ethiopia in the latest front in the war on terrorism. The Sunnis didn't support the surge, the Shia didn't support it, the Kurds didn't support it. They need to be pushed to a political solution. We cannot impose a military solution. Further point on this, you cannot conduct a war with one party for it and one party against it. We've got to start getting people pulling together here, particularly to be able to win, and we've got to win this. This is very important in the war on terrorism, of what happens in Iraq and the image of the U.S. both there and around the world.
You've also recently introduced a public expression of religion act.
Yes.
Can you tell us, why is that necessary in the United States when we already have First Amendment rights of freedom of religion?
Well, because you've got primarily the ACLU, although some other groups, blackmailing frequently small communities, school districts, from them freely exercising their right of religion. And I held a hearing on this last year. I had the bill in last year. The bill actually passed the House last session of Congress. And the ACLU lawyer came in and said, yes, we do blackmail local groups, saying that if you don't take down this nativity scene, if you do sing this Christmas carol, we're going to sue you and you're going to pay legal fees. And I'm saying, fine if you want to pursue the courts. That's your prerogative, whoever it is. But it should not be your prerogative to threaten legal fees, particularly since that was not put in the law primarily to look at freedom of expression cases. It was primarily put in for civil rights cases. If you want to litigate, fine. This is a complicated area of the law, but it shouldn't be one for blackmailing with legal fees.
And now, there have been some questions on your stance on immigration. Can you clarify your position on immigration?
Yes, tough issue. We took a bill through the Senate last year. I'm for enforcing the borders. I think we have to enforce the borders. I voted for the fence last year. I think it can be useful, particularly in urban areas between Mexico and the United States. I do believe over time you're going to have to up the level of legal immigration in this country and make it simpler. And I want to give you one fact point on that. We currently allow 50,000 agricultural workers into the country on an annual basis. The marketplace in the U.S. is demanding about 500,000. These are generally low skill, low wage, and it's in a complicated area of the law that you can't afford a lot of lawyers to come in and to figure out how you get this to work. I think we're going to have to up those legal numbers over time and try to simplify the system. The current one does not work, either in enforcement or in meeting some of the needs in the country.
Are you for any type of amnesty at all?
I don't support amnesty. I do think you're going to have to provide ways that people can get into a legal system, but I don't support an amnesty.
Now, and let's say if you were sworn in as president today. Today is January 20. What would be your first order of business in the White House?
That's a great one. I'm just a strong believer in the dignity of human life. And one of the first things that George Bush did was speak at the Right to Life March and talk about not funding of abortions overseas. I would hope to start off with some place to talk about the dignity of human life, and not in any sort of fashion that is excluding or seems harsh, but we just start talking about each other as having incredible dignity, beauty, sacredness. Would be something that I would push. I strongly, and this is a second point, but it builds into that, really think we've got to rebuild the family structure in this country, and I would do things to try to uplift that. We've got 36% of our kids born out of wedlock. I really hope we can start encouraging people in marriage and to rebuild these fundamental institutions that are the building blocks of this society. Families are and we're going into the Super Bowl. Those are blocking and tackling. If you don't get those right, you can't do a lot of other things. So I really think we need to look at those key issues.
And how do you plan on winning here in South Carolina? Some consider you an underdog. How are you going to win?
I like that position. The way I'm going to win is on the issues. Republican voters, primary voters, really pay attention to the issues. And I think once they look at the issue portfolio of what I've been working on, the things I've done, where I stand, I think I'm going to perform very well. I think I will wear well, and I like my bracket. I think I can do well in this state.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
You bet. Good to see you guys.
Need to get you a palmetto.
Gonna have